Hello, everybody. I'm here with state championship winning coach, Mr. Joe Buffalino. Coach, how are you doing today?
Very good, Mo. Good to be here.
Great. Thanks for taking time out your schedule to come today.
Absolutely. What a great thing you guys are doing.
Great to see you. So let's start off by talking about where you grew up, what city, what state, the neighborhood, and that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I grew up not far from here, 29th and Peach. My mom actually grew up down here in Little Italy, and we migrated a little bit south, and my dad had a grocery store on Peach Street between 29th and 30th. So that's where the neighborhood kids, I learned all my sports from playing in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Playing in the street, the police kicking us out of the street a couple times a day, but what great times, what great times. At that time, the Tech had just been built. It was a brand new school.
Okay.
Up there where it is now, where Erie High is now.
Yes.
And we used to go up there, and that's where our grade school teams practiced, right there at that field.
At that field.
Right. Now, prior to being a football field, that was the circus field, where when the circus would come to town,
they would go there.
They would. The big parade would come up Peach Street with all the elephants and the animals and everything, and they'd set up tent right there.
Wow.
Now, during the war, Tech Field was a Victory Garden area, where all those people who lived on 31st Street, they had their gardens back there.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So a lot of history there. By the time I came around and started playing ball, the new Tech had been built there. Al Calabrese was the coach, and we're playing grade school football at St. Joseph's for Craig Allison, Herbie Downs, and Bill Flaherty.
Okay.
So there's some names in there that are unique with Erie athletics. Mm-hmm. And so my thrill was being able to go up there, practice, and watch Bobby and Freddie Blitnikoff practice.
Wow.
Yeah. I knew they were good. I just didn't know how good they were. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And but anyway, it was a thrill. We had a weight limit, 125 pounds, and best thing I ever got involved in. Yeah, team sports.
Team sports.
Team sports. I never accomplished anything individually as I did as a team member, and there's a lot to be said for that. Yeah.
Right. What about your family? Grew up with both parents, siblings, brothers and sisters?
Yeah, mom and dad. Mother grew up down here, 18th and Cherry. My grandfather owned the grocery store over here. My uncle owned the flower shop down here at 18th and Cherry. Mother went to Strong Vincent. And she would always talk about she had to walk to school all the time. Mm-hmm. They were tough back then.
Oh, yeah.
How can I put it to you? They didn't expect a whole lot, but they were willing to, they had fun doing what they did.
Right.
My dad always said, we didn't have a whole lot, but we always ate good. Yeah. Right. Always ate good. No. During the war, my mom and dad ran the grocery store here at 18th and Cherry. And because my uncle got drafted, he went into the service. And mom and dad hung on to the store for him until he got back. Mm-hmm. Then when he got back, he took over the store. That's my Uncle Manuel. And my mom and dad bought a store up on 29th and Peach.
Okay.
Little red and white store. Mm. Dad remodeled it 3 times, and he was there for about 35 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So the neighborhood kids either went to Tech Academy or they went to prep. Mm-hmm. So I went to Glenwood School for 5 years. Then I went to St. Joseph's.
Okay.
And that's where I met my buddy Barry Masterson. Barry Masterson was the quarterback at prep. He was a quarterback also at St. Joe's. Mm-hmm. But we played in the parking lot. At that time, the parking lot, it was not a triple-decker like it is today at St. Vincent's. It was just an open parking lot, had lights, and kids.
Right.
Kids playing football. Yes. So we drew up plays, and we made up our own rules, too. So you were allowed 2 forward passes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, as kids will do, they make up a rule and they have fun with it, and gee, it escalates, and all of a sudden you're building on something.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So anyway, that's where I learned my football. Then playing for St. Joseph's. They didn't have a team in 6th grade. They had a team in 7th and 8th grade. And I remember we wanted new uniforms, so we had to have a paper drive.
You earned your own uniform.
Yes. And that was all part of it, I'm sure there were donations, and the parish was good to us, but still, we had to work for it, which is okay.
Right.
Yeah. And the men that put their time in coaching, like I said, was Herbie Downs, Craig Allison, Bill Flaherty. And I learned a lot from those guys. Everyone needs someone in their life that won't let them quit. And I was fortunate that I had a number of people like that.
Right.
And from my parents on up, coaches, Little League baseball coaches, everything. Yeah.
Is that something you learned? What's something you carry even today from your parents? Like something you...
From my mom and dad? My mom and dad owned a grocery store. And they got along with everybody. Matter of fact, my father there were some Germans in the neighborhood. My dad would learn to speak German.
Oh, okay. Learn the language.
So that when they came in, they felt comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, heart of gold, would do anything for anybody. At that time, the little grocery stores would give credit. And, things were tough, and people didn't have a lot of cash. And my mom and dad would establish credit for people. And, he earned a good trade and made friends.
Right.
Yeah. So my dad, that's all I can say is that it didn't matter if you were Italian or not.
He knew how to get along with people.
He got along with
He
people.
knew how to get along.
That's right.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So you played, you went to, what high school did you go to?
Oh, I went to Cathedral Prep.
Okay. What sports did you play there?
I played football. I wanted to play baseball, but I went out to the tryout, and Red Murray, God bless him, good man, he was a baseball coach. He said, Buffalino, he said, you're supposed to go run track. I said, I am? He said, yep. So that's what I did. I went and I ran track. I did play basketball too. Yeah, I played basketball my freshman, sophomore year. And then I just isolated on football after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you, when you look back at your high school career, what positions did you play?
Yeah. I was a running back and defensive back.
Okay.
And we were a pseudo wing T. We didn't do nearly the things a wing T does, but we were either a full house or a wing concept.
Okay.
Yes. And it was 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And if you deviated from that, you were on the bench. Don't be showing me that you have a move here and there. No. You get through the hole.
Get the 3 yards, right?
Yeah, you get through the hole, and if you're fortunate to have a big enough hole, well, then you take it wherever you can.
Right, right.
Yeah, but there was no dancing. Certainly no showboating. Get up, hand the ball to the ref, and that was it.
Right. Yeah. So you, who was the coach then when you played?
Good coach named Tom Duff. Tom Duff had a great staff too. Lenny Sitierski was on his staff. Ronnie Costello was on his staff.
Wow.
Yeah, Ronnie, I think Ronnie was a young coach, just got back from Xavier College, had a tryout with the Minnesota Vikings, and he lost out to Fran Tarkenton. How's that?
Not a bad.
No.
Nothing to be ashamed of there, right?
Not bad at all. No, but Ron was a very good athlete. I learned how good an athlete he was my senior year in high school. He's at prep teaching. For some reason, Tom Duff didn't show up that day. And I moseyed over to the gym. I had Tom for social studies. Mm-hmm. I moseyed over to the gym, and Ron was there shooting around. And so I was shooting around with him. He was lights out. Mm-hmm. He could shoot the basketball.
Shoot the basketball.
Yeah, exactly. So these guys were multi-talented.
Right.
in their own right. Yeah.
Right. And you played in college too, right?
Oh, I did. I went to Edinburgh, and I did not play my freshman year. I decided I would just see what the studies were all about and whatnot. And it turned out spring come around, and I decided I'd go out. I was a running back at that time, and maybe 150 pounds, maybe. Probably would have been more suited as a flanker.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, the Coach Dave Odessa, he was my coach. Great man. And he was the secondary coach, and he said, "Gentlemen, I'm looking for D-backs. Anybody here?" Raised my hand. Any way to get on the field.
Right.
Yeah. So I played 3 years for David as a defensive back. Yeah. And you develop an attitude where you'd rather hit than be hit. And it was a nasty attitude. Yeah. And I had fun with it. We played good defense, but we were on the field too long. And consequently, our record showed it. We were maybe
Defense
like
was on.
1-8 or something. Then a young man named Bill McDonald come in. Bill came in. He was the head coach at Indiana.
Okay.
And matter of fact, he coached Wally Blucas. And Bill came in, and he changed the offense around. He was running the Houston Veer at that time, split back veer.
Triple option and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And my buddy Barry Masterson was the quarterback. And Barry Masterson, I believe in Game 3, big tight end from Indiana, and he played for the Steelers. Last name Smith. He come around and caught Barry from the blind side and broke his collarbone.
Wow.
So that ended Barry's career there. Yeah. And anyway, we were 500 that year. And it hit me that because we were able to change the offense around, gave our defense less time on the field.
Less time on the field.
Yeah. And that meant everything. And the 2 years after that, they won back-to-back Lambert trophies.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's under quarterback Joe Sanford.
Okay.
See, Joe was a option quarterback. They had Al Raines as their tailback. They had a great fullback, and I wish I remember his name. I can't remember. But Tommy Herman was the center.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, on those teams under Bill McDonald, the guys that ended up coaching were Joe Sanford, Denny Crean, who had a great career. Joe had his great careers at Corey and McDowell. Then Denny went all over the country coaching, even got to the pros, even went to the pros in Canada.
Wow.
And then Tommy Herman, he ended up coaching at Gannon, still coaching at Mercyhurst. J.J. McCurry went to North Hills and had many championships, Whipple championships down there. Dan DiTullio come out of that group. I come out of that group. Johnny Ballard come out of that group from Harbor Creek.
Yeah, these are all names that have been coming up on the.
Yeah, so Bill, know it or not, had quite an influence on all of us. Yeah. So when I look back at it, I was fortunate to be part of that.
When I played college at Westminster, there was our AD was the former head coach at Westminster, Joe Fusco.
Yeah,
And,
I remember the name.
You know, Fusco won
Yes.
6 national titles or something like that in
Yeah.
the IE Division II. And he used to say, when I walk into a college locker room, I should be able to, and you talked about wanting to hit more than be hit.
Yeah,
He said, I should be able to, I know the defenders from the offensive guys.
okay.
He said, I can just tell by their demeanor. And that was, I think it just reminded me of that when you said that.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, it's an interesting mental philosophy. Yeah, and I played with some wrestlers too. Now there's an attitude that I wish I had 22 of them. 22 of them. They have the courage of going out there one-on-one, accepting defeat or enjoying victory.
Right.
and it.
You can't hide, right?
No, you don't hide it. I'm not going to say it doesn't bother them, but they are willing to take the chance for some glory, and that not everybody can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Coach, when did you know? When did you know? Like, okay, I want to be a coach. How did you get into that? And when did you know?
It was my summer of my sophomore year of college. I'm working Mayor's Construction. And in between a shovel full of dirt, it hit me. I'm in elementary ed, I said. I want to coach. I said, I can't coach from elementary. I said, I've got to go to secondary. So that next day, I drove out to Edinburgh. I saw my advisor. He said to me, okay. He said, now what secondary discipline do you want to get into? And I thought to myself, I said, well, I think to myself, I said, I'm not a reader. I don't enjoy that. See, some people relax when they read. Not me. I'm what you call a deliberate reader. I read every word. Okay? But so, math. I love math. Math, you're either right or wrong. You have an immediate reward. You don't have to wait 2 weeks to get your paper back. That's me. So that's what I did. I ended up being a math major, and I wear that as a badge of honor because there were two other coaches in the area that I stole from them, and they welcomed it. And that was Joe Shesman. He was a math major, and Jack Bestwick. He was a math major.
Right.
So I started coaching then. I coached at Academy, first started as a JV coach. Okay, then I moved over to East High with Jerry Mifsud. Jerry Mifsud was the head coach there.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and Jerry was there for 2 years, and I was his assistant for 2 years with Danny Sotakis.
That's right. Sure.
Yeah, good guy. And so then Jerry, he won city council. So now he's going to go politics. So Miss Andrews asked me, he says, would you like the job? I said, yes, I would. And she had faith in me, and she gave me the head job there. And I had a number of good teams there, and I had good athletes. We didn't have a lot of numbers, okay? But we had our share of athletes. The Dawsons, I don't know, do you remember them? Earl and Andy. We had them. We had the Carson kids. There was Roy and Nuki. Then there's another Carson, Sean, good kid. I had a kid named Bobby Henderson, big tackle. He was something to reckon with. And then I had Carl Nicholson. Carl Nicholson went to Tech and then come back to East. And no one knew Carl. Big kid, quiet. Watch out for the quiet ones. They got a burning desire inside. I used to ask Carl, I said, Carl, I never see you get fired up. He says, no, coach, I'm fired up. It's inside. I said, you just don't see it. Yeah, so I learned something. I learned something from my players every year. Every year I learned something from them. And, you know, I learned to really appreciate the black community. I did not know black community until I started teaching. And got to know black moms, black dads. I didn't play with a lot of black kids in high school. At prep we had one. At Edinburgh we didn't have many at that time. Erie population for the black family didn't start to grow until after the war. Yeah. And anyway, I'm at Academy, and I cannot coach the way I was coached. That's all there is to it. You know, it was nothing to get a rap on a helmet from a coach if you were screwed up.
Right.
You don't, that's an insult, okay? For us, that wasn't an insult, that's just how it was.
Right.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to insult anybody, but that's how it was taken, and that's it took me a while to figure that out, and I understood that after a while.
Right.
And then I met a young man at Academy. His name was Sam Coleman. His older brother played on Johnny Christensen's championship team. But anyway, Sam was only 150 pounds soaking wet.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw such a vicious hitter in my life. Yeah. Now, these kids have a talent that you can't coach. Yeah, you just can't coach it. I don't even know if they know where they get it. Mm-hmm. It's just something in them. It's something they have to do. Someone asked me about the athlete. What kind of an athlete do you want? And I figured out I want an athlete that just doesn't want to play. He has to play. Mm-hmm. He's got to be on that field. He's got to be in the mix. And he'll do whatever it takes to get there.
To get out there.
Yeah. So if you can find that kid, your battles are half solved.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So anyway, that's where I started coaching at Academy, went to East, and I coached there for 6 years. And we had a couple good teams there. And the biggest thrill at East High, and I get together with these kids a couple times a year.
Still get together with them.
Yes.
And that was early 80s and late 70s, right?
Yes, that's right. Still get together with them. Either I'll come in town or they'll come out to my place. A lot of times we'll go to the Polish Falcons. We go for their perch dinner. Mm-hmm. It's still terrific. Still terrific, you know. And I'll send them a Christmas card with the play on it. It'll have the X's and O's on it, okay? Mm-hmm. And I'll say, remember this play? I said, you beat Tech. And at that year, Tech had won the city championship. Mm. And we beat them with a play called Double Dive. And that's where the quarterback is going to read the defensive tackle. We were not going to block him. Mm-hmm. And he's either going to give it to the fullback or give it to the trailing tailback. Mm-hmm. And we had great success with that. Nick Anderson was my quarterback then. Mm-hmm. And then Craig Latzo, was my quarterback. Mm-hmm. And all those guys could run that play, and they did it well. I had a little running back, Mark Granberry, and I had Johnny Salter, Mark Williams, Roosevelt Price, all those kids. I had some speed. Mm-hmm. Can't coach speed.
No,
and if they can carry the mail, I try not to overcoach them too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So okay, now I'm at East, and from East, I made the jump to Mercyhurst College. Mm-hmm. Even had the nerve to apply for the head job. Okay. Yeah. So I did. I applied for the head job at Mercyhurst College because they're just starting football.
Okay.
And I had a nice interview. People were very cordial and everything. A young, bright man named Tony DeMeo got the job. Mm-hmm. Very bright. And he called me. He said, I see you were an applicant. He said, I'd like to have you on our staff. And I thought to myself, I said, I need a learning curve change. Mm-hmm. I need to know how they're doing it up there.
Right.
And so I did. And that turned out to be probably the biggest learning curve in my career. I remember talking to Tony, interviewed with Tony, and he said, listen, we can't pay you much. He said, but it's all you can learn and all you can eat. So, I mean, 2 out of 3, what the hell?
Right.
Right. So we did. The cafeteria was outstanding. We'd eat dinner there every night. The atmosphere was great. They were pro football there. They wanted to see the team do well. Mm-hmm. And Tony, he ran he called it the multi-bone. He wrote a book. Mm. And it's the wishbone. However, from different sets. He had two wideouts, two slot backs. You know, he'd spread you out. And then later on, he incorporated a three-step drop into the offense, which was really, really good. It got the ball out quickly to where the defenders didn't have time to get to the quarterback. And it just, besides the running the triple, it put that much more pressure on the defense.
Right, now you got to defend that too. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so Tony, one year, he went undefeated up there. Yeah. So I coached there 3 years. And after that, I went to Tech.
Okay.
Yeah. And I coached with Ronnie Costello and Jim Marnella. Two good coaches, two good guys. And Marnella was the line coach and the head basketball coach. You know, it's good when you have camaraderie amongst the sports.
Different sports.
Yeah, exactly. And Jeff Shaw, he was the line coach. And I was the offensive coordinator. And I give Ronnie credit. He gave me free wheel to do what I had learned and what I wanted to do. While at Mercyhurst, I'm debating what kind of an offense I'm going to run if I ever get a head job again. It's either going to be the wishbone or it's going to be the wing tee. I saw what Tony was doing with the wishbone, and he didn't shy away from any teams. He went to Dayton and beat them down there. Trying to think here. They had just won the Division III national title, and Gettysburg, and he went there and defeated them. So he didn't shy away. And then when I had gone to Tech then after Mercyhurst, he had won. He went undefeated. So he had a great career there, and then he left to make a move, and he went to Temple.
Okay.
As offensive coordinator. You know, these guys, I give them credit. These guys are trying to move up the ladder.
They're trying to move up the ladder to get the pros or where they want to get.
Exactly right. I thought about that. You know, I was not willing to move my family around.
Year to year.
Exactly.
It could be year to year sometimes.
Exactly right. Erie is extremely good to me. Let me coach. Had opportunities here to coach. My wife didn't want to move.
Right.
Kids didn't want to move, so we stay. And it worked out for everybody.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm deciding what offense I'm going to run. And Tony played a team called Salisbury State. They had, the year before, won the Division III national championship. They were a wing T team. We went down to Maryland to play them. And we played them tough, and we did lose. But that's when I decided I was going to be a wing T coach.
Wing T coach.
So now I've decided that. Well, who else was running wing T in the area was Edinburgh. Denny Crean. Denny Crean started out as a I formation power type of offense, and then he went to Delaware and was researching it and decided this is how he's going to go. So he allowed me to sit in on meetings, and for me, if you allow me to do that, I'm a church mouse. I'm writing. I'm listening to what everybody has to say. It's interesting on the philosophy of the wing T. The philosophy of the wing T, they're always looking to put a defender in conflict. In other words, he's got two responsibilities. He can't be right both times.
Right.
Yeah. So what would happen is the blocking scheme would put this defender in conflict, and you would see what his reaction
We
was.
had something, you had something, no matter what you did, we had something.
Exactly right. And then you knew what sister play to call after that, and which was terrific. I mean, how else do you call plays? You don't just pick them out of a hat,
Right.
which I was doing, and I had some success at that because we ran a lot of play action pass and stuff like that. And, like I said, I stole from Jack Bestwick. Jack had a series called the Cowboy Series, where he would ride his tailback into the line
Yeah, I remember that stuff.
So far that the refs would blow the whistle and thinking he was tackled. And so it was called ride and shuffle. And so we'd shuffle into the line with him. And there were times when the refs would blow the whistle dead, blow the play dead. And we took that as a badge of honor. If we could fool them, sometimes it didn't work out too good, like maybe you had a big gainer or something.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, that's how that worked. And then I worked a camp with Jack. And I think Joe was there too, Joe Shesman. Joe, see, when I played at Edinburgh, Joe was the line coach for Bill McDonnell. And his line steps were very deliberate. They were very calculated. You paid attention to every step. You just didn't go out there taking off.
Right.
Yeah. You worked for leverage. And so I learned that from Joe. Joe was a mild, demeanored man. Okay, Jack a little more forceful. Okay, so you had both concepts, and both were doing it well.
Right.
Yeah. So okay, so where am I now? I'm at Tech. We had some good success at Tech. That's where I had a chance to coach Scotty Goring.
Okay.
Yeah. Scotty, before I got there, was a wideout. Well, the Costello boys had all graduated, and now there's no quarterback to get Scotty the ball. So we made Scott the quarterback. He was an athlete, get it in his hands, and he can do a lot with it.
Right.
Plus, he was our punter. Yeah.
So now you got stuff off of that too.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And, you never know how good they are until they're gone. That's my first year at Tech, and I didn't know the personnel that well. I learned quick, though. They were very good. We were, I believe, 8-1 that year. They beat Prep, and we lost our first game of the year. And you know how that goes. You're just getting everybody settled. You're getting your blocking schemes ready, and for whatever reason, we weren't ready. Game 2, we were ready. You make the biggest jump between game 1 and game 2. Yeah, and we did. Yeah. We had both Tom Allen there and Brent Taylor at that time. So we had one heck of a nucleus. Too bad there wasn't state playoffs then, because that team, I think,
Could have made it a long run.
they had a lot of potential. Exactly right. So then from Tech, my friend Pete Donatucci took over the program at Strong Vincent, and Ray Fiorelli was the principal. When I was coaching at East High, Ray was my principal at Wayne School, and Ray, we'd have a good game at East, and he'd come in my room, and he was always pro athletics, and he remembered that. And he called, and so did Pete call, and see if I was interested in coming over. And I did. I went over. And that's when we went full-time wing T. Yeah.
You made a switch to that when you went to Vincent.
Yes. We were running some wing T out of the eye, but it wasn't as deceptive. And we weren't pulling the tackles like they do and counter traps and all that. But anyway, we made the commitment. And so we ran the wing T. I incorporated the 3-step drop from Mercyhurst College. I incorporated the little bit of the wishbone from Mercyhurst College. So we had
Stuff that you learned throughout the years.
That's right. Again, see, the wishbone puts somebody in conflict. Puts that 5-technique tackle. He doesn't know whether to come down on the fullback or sit there.
Right.
Because we're not going to block him. And so anyway, that worked for us. And the kids, once they figured out what we're doing, that we're trying to take advantage of a defender, they had confidence that we could do it. You get my quarterback enough reps, he will be able to read it. Yeah. and which I was fortunate. I always had a quarterback who was kind of heady, and he, he watched football
Right.
and
Right.
played a lot of it in the sandlot. And yeah, so it was very good to us. No, so I had Vincent, and then I met a great staff there. We had Pete Donatucci, we had Timmy Cashone, Johnny Cashone, Mike Burke was there, Jackie Harper was there with us, and Ray Fiorelli was our principal.
Great staff and great principal. Right?
Exactly
So,
right, exactly right. And Vincent, Vincent at that time was high academic, and just a good neighborhood school. And we had kids coming from all over the city to go there. I had kids from St. George there, kids from Blessed Sacrament, kids, I think here, St. Andrews, okay, plus my kids from Wayne, Roosevelt. We had a blend that I don't think you can replace. No. No, I had, as time went on, let me think here, my first year there, Sonny Carson was the standout. Sonny Carson, his dad played when I played, and he was noted for wearing red shoes, way ahead of his time. He was flashy.
Where do you play at East?
He played at Vincent.
Played at Vincent.
Yeah, he was there too at Vincent, and so did Sonny. Sonny played at Vincent, and Sonny I coached Sonny 2 years there, and he had a great career running the ball, and he went to Slippery Rock. And eventually worked his way up there at Slippery Rock to become their ace back, because they were a one-back set at that time. And so Sonny had a good career at Vincent, good career in college. He's a firefighter today, down in the Carolinas.
Right.
And I keep in touch with him.
I think his son made it to the NFL.
Oh, he did. He played
If
for
I'm
the
not
Bears.
mistaken. Yeah.
That's right. So, yeah, Sonny's got good heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good family. The Carson family, I don't know, do you ever go to one of their picnics?
I've been around some things. So,
Yeah. You can't ask for anything
Oh
better
yeah.
than that.
Great family.
Yeah, great family. I've been fortunate. Had a chance not to just bring what I knew, but to learn on the way. Erie was good to me that way. Let me learn on the job, and I'm glad I stayed. Yeah, I'm glad I stayed.
Right.
So where am I now? I'm at Vincent, and we got our staff together, and we as a staff, I believe we were together about 8 years. Yeah. The championship team was together all 4 years. When they were freshmen, they had guys to learn from, like Eric Kuhn, Dave Ashton, Sonny Carson. Those were the kids learning, teaching
They taught the
our system. Yeah. And so now we have, who's the freshmen that year were Tony Roby, Romansky, Timmy Romansky, Quentin Orlando, Danny Olson. Now Danny played JVs 2 years, and his junior year, the quarterback that would have been the senior quarterback when he's a junior, he didn't finish. Let's put it that way. Now I take pride in saying that I've never fired anybody. Never. I've never fired anybody. You know why? When a kid realizes that he messed up and he can't go back and change it, I think that moment of regret is unfortunate. I've had a number of kids like that. I wish I had stayed. I wish I had stayed. I understand that. So I've never fired anybody. But he did leave. That one kid did leave, and he was my cue. Well, he wants to come out the next year. I know he could help us. But I want a 2-year quarterback. I want Olson to take over the reins. So I told the young man. I said, listen, yes, you can play. He said, but you got to play where I put you. He said, okay. So day one, we all break up. The running backs go down here with Coach Tim Cashone. The wideouts go with Coach John Cashone. Linemen go down here with Dave Grack. And quarterbacks come with me. Well, the young man, not knowing where he's going to play, he quarterback, he came with me. I said, no. I said, you got to go down with Dave Grack. He went down with the lineman. He was a big kid. Mm-hmm. Didn't he become a starting guard? Mm. And helped our team immensely.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a trade. He helped me, I helped him. Mm-hmm. And to this day, we have a good relationship.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are things I'm proud of. Those little things like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One way I would discipline my kids, I did everything mentally. And I would, like an Italian kid, I'd steal the vowel off his name. I wouldn't give it back.
Right.
Yeah. Brucci became Bruch. Perello became Johnny Perel. And it might take a couple days before they get it back. And that tickled the nerve. And it's interesting, if you can find how to tickle it, then it's useful. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was fortunate there. I had one moment, and at a clinic, I think I told that story, and I said, I give it to you all to use. Yeah. By the way, about clinics, for the first year, when I learned something, I give that man or university credit. Mm. After a year, it's mine. Mm-hmm. It's mine, yeah, no more.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
For instance, we were running, no, not we, the Air Force. Wish I remembered the coach's name. He was running the midline. And midline, it's like running inside veer, except you're going to read the 3 technique. Mm-hmm. Man over the guard.
Right, right.
And I had always wanted to do something like that, but I didn't know how. Finally, here's a fellow that come up with it. And it was the Air Force, so we called it force. It was force blocking. Wouldn't block the 3 technique. Mm-hmm. Fullback owned the midline. Quarterback had to come off the midline, and he would read the 3. If the 3 closed on fullback, the quarterback would keep and run the B gap. Very simple. Very simple. We had very good success with that. So now you marry that up with the inside and outside veer. And that's what Tony DeMeo did eventually when he left and went to Richmond. He did all that and married that up. The head coach from Salisbury, Coach McClinchy, I asked him years later, I said, are you still running the wing T? He said, no, I'm running midline. So that's all we do now. Mm. Yeah. So he made the transition.
To that.
It's interesting. You're always making a transition. And here's why. After a while, the defenders quit reading us. All they wanted to do was come a Helen. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to get in your backfield and they wanted to cause problems.
Right, right.
Okay.
Penetration. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Which was effective. Yeah, they pick off your pulling guards and everything. So McClinchy realized that. So he said, as I was thinking, if they're not going to read us, then we're going to read them. Mm. And that's when midline took off big time.
Right.
And you know who else used to run that was Lou Holtz at Notre Dame with Tony Rice.
Yeah.
Tony Rice was an adequate passer, but a great runner. Mm-hmm. And he would run the midline. He'd run out front door. He'd run back door. I can still see him. Thank God for videotapes, because I would tape all those games. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched a little bit of when they played Miami in like '88.
Oh.
And you could tell that Miami was definitely having trouble stopping.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop it. When they were there winning Wishbone, they were running veer, and they had problems with that.
Yeah. See, Holtz was good at adapting his players to different types of philosophy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, of course, he had Joe Moore,
right.
coaching his line. Yeah, we had an opportunity to go to one of their clinics, and very interesting. As a matter of fact, during the off season, the Vincent staff would go up to Ohio. We made friends with them up there, and they would invite us up every week because they had a Wednesday session where you bring your concerns or bring what you've learned and you share it. And because we didn't play any of them,
They were open to you doing
yeah, right. So and it was good.
Right.
Yeah.
So as you were going into, because I know a lot, the 91 season,
Yeah.
did you know, like, when you were going into the 91 season, like, okay, I got a great team here, like, I got a lot of guys coming back. What was the outlook going into that year?
There's no doubt we had experience, and we got our big tackle back. Forget his name now.
I didn't tell.
No, I'm not. Jamal was always with us, but it was
Wasn't O'Hara, was it?
no O'Hara. O'Hara was always there. It was
Jamal?
Malik Martin.
Malik Martin, right?
Malik
right.
Martin, and Malik. He filled two positions for us. He was going to be a left guard and a three technique tackle. Okay, and that year, an ex basketball player came out, but he had never played, but he was an athlete. So, where can they help us the quickest? The line.
Mm-hmm.
So that young man learned from Malik, and by the time we hit the playoffs, that young man took over the offensive guard position and let Malik play just defense.
Mm-hmm.
So that worked out for us there. Yeah. So there was all kind of publicity. At that time, Jimmy LaCorchik had his paper.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy was good, and he had Tony Roby and Timmy Romansky for a photo shoot. I think Jimmy rented a steam roller,
Mm-hmm.
and those two kids were on top of it.
Mm.
And I think they were in uniform, if I remember. But anyway, that was the highlight, and getting ready for the upcoming season and the expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So, every year we have a motto. And that year, we're searching for a motto, something adequate. Dave Grack had just seen a movie, and it was, I can't remember what, and he said, listen, it should be stand tall and deliver. Okay? I like the concept, but I'm not going to put that much pressure on those kids.
Mm-hmm.
So we changed it to stand tall for tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Because Vincent is filled with traditions.
Right.
And so that was our motto.
Okay.
Yeah. And our nemesis game one was Franklin. Franklin had beaten us the year before at their place, and we were trading scrimmages, and we went to see their scrimmage. They weren't there. Who knows where they were? So we never saw them. Mm. So now we're scrimmaging Harbor Creek at Vincent. I got a great crowd there. Holy crap! I couldn't believe how many people were there. Franklin, they show up.
They're there.
Yeah. My parents know that we didn't scout them because we didn't know where they were. Mm-hmm. My parents would not let them take film. Yeah, wouldn't let them take film. So we end up playing them game one, and in the stadium we had a great game against them. And it was just a weight off our shoulders. And yeah, so anyway, we defeated them. Mm-hmm. And we're running our wing tee, and we're making subtle adjustments. Defense is playing pretty good. We're staying healthy. Then Romansky went down. And who steps in but sophomore Kareem Carson? Now again, Kareem's a sophomore, and Kareem steps in like he belonged there. No, not an ounce of doubt in his mind. Yeah, he filled in very well. He always started on defense. Now he's playing offense and playing very well. Then I think Tony Roby went down. Yeah, Tony Roby went down, and trying to think who filled in for him. Don't remember, but we were fortunate. We always had enough people. See, we cross-trained people. If you were a running back or a wideout, everybody learned both positions. Yeah, because you never knew
Who's going to go down?
exactly. Right.
Right.
Right. So we had enough people. Thank God, my quarterback never went down. Consequently, he never played defense either.
Right.
Yeah. And Dan, a very unselfish player, wanted to make sure that the ball was distributed. We had three great running backs, Orlando, Roby, and Romansky. And Orlando's amazing. His freshman year, maybe 90 pounds. He was a right halfback. Over time he grew, he lifted. And Craig Bainey was the fullback. And because Quentin was making such great strides, it was time to move Bainey to tight end and Quentin to the fullback. So Quentin got 2 years of fullback there, and Bainey 2 years at the tight end. And again, they built diversity, and they had both of them had great careers.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I learned something from Craig Bainey. On counter pass, he would always run the wrong route. In his mind, he got play side and backside mixed up. Well, we took a hard look at it. We liked it.
He was always open.
Got open. Yeah. What do? You put it in. Put it in, yeah. And so in Sharon, I talked to Dan Olson about this. This was on the final drive going down to the horseshoe. And we think Bainey ran the wrong route again, but Olson hit him and took it down to the 4. And then that's when Roby took it in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's for the D10 title, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You always had to get by Sharon. Well-coached team, hard football, but you had to get and play on their level. And while we never coached nasty, because we had played them a year before, the kids knew that it was just going to be a tough game.
It's going to be a rough game, right?
Yeah, right. And I knew the kids were in the right frame of mind when my big tackle, Steve Ulrich, he got a 15-yard penalty for a late hit out of bounds, which set tempo. Yeah. You don't coach it, but they knew.
Right. They knew they had to get to that.
Yeah.
How Sharon was, what they're going to come with. And
Yeah,
you had to match that intensity, basically.
That's right.
Right,
That's right.
right.
I give them credit. You had to go through Sharon to get out of District 10. Yeah.
Right.
Right. And then we play Blackhawk, the Whipple champion. They weren't ready for us in the beginning of the game. We jumped on them 3 scores. And we're running a waggle with Y-dig. That's the play you're talking about.
Okay.
And Danny's hitting Craig Benetti on a crossing route. Did it twice to keep drives alive. And so anyway, we're up 3 scores at halftime. And Blackhawk, being a Whipple champion, they come out the second half and they're ready to play. So they they bring the game within one at the end of the game. They have a chance to score, and the problem was they are a passing team, but it was windy that day, and they threw it in the end zone. And I remember Kareem, he jumped up, and he jumped a tad early, so that he was going to knock it down. Well, he's up early, so he's coming down, and the ball's still going up, and all he could do was get his hand in front of the receiver, and it hit the receiver in the face mask and down on the ground.
Distracting.
Exactly right. So, great game, both teams, and that got us into the final.
Right.
Yeah. And at that time, the daylight savings is coming around. It gets dark early. It's interesting now. We're into December and we're playing. It was like a pro football season. We had 16 games that year. Yeah, 16 games. And of course you temper it all down. There's not a whole lot of hitting going on. Just a lot of good reps. And we're getting ready for Conestoga Valley, who I didn't know anything about. And we were going to trade films, and the rule was you trade your last 2 games. Okay. They asked us, could we have your prep game? I said, that's not our last 2 games. He said, well, we know. I said, no, you can't have that. So I played by the rules, whatever the committee said.
I'll give you the last 2, right?
Yeah. Exactly, Mom. So we go down there to Lackawanna County. At that time, Mo, everybody played their game at a different location. Prep was playing CB West at
Altoona.
Altoona. That's right. And we're down there in Lackawanna. And so we get down there the night before, and we check in. All the kids got their rooms and everything. My poor line coach, Dave Grax, got the flu. He's in bed. I give him credit because he's sweating. And he says, I'll be at the game in the morning. And he was. And he was there ready to play. So every team, both teams got an hour to practice at the field. And so the bus comes, Lackawanna, it's a team I played.
Conestoga Valley. Oh yeah.
Conestoga Valley. They're just getting done. So they're going to watch us practice. The bus drops us off. We're in our shorts and shoulder pads, I think, helmet. And the bus takes off. Well, no one took the balls off the bus. We got no balls.
Right.
They're watching. So I don't want to make it look like we're stupid, but we made a mistake. So we're doing drills with no ball. I'm doing tip drill with no ball, highest point with no ball. My kids think I'm nuts because I'm going here, and throwing. I said,
Right.
And I said, jump for it. I don't know what Conestoga thought about us. But anyway, Coach Tommy Cashone, he went back and finally got the balls and brought them back. So we had a decent practice then. My big tackle, I told you his name and I forgot. My big
Malik
tackle,
Martin?
Malik Martin forgot his helmet in the locker at Vincent.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't want him to practice without a helmet because, you know, get a head
yeah.
knock. So he had to borrow somebody's helmet. It was so tight that his cheeks are coming out. But it was hilarious. So that broke the ice. So people were laughing. And laughter is good in a stressful situation. Yeah. So the game itself, we were behind at halftime. And they had a great passing attack. They tried to copy Miami's offense, where they threw the ball all over the place and did very well with it. And they played tough defense. And we were defending them very well, except we did not handle their ace-back option. And that play beat us up for big yards about 3 times the first half, to the point where they were winning. They were winning. I think it was, I don't know, 15-something they were winning. And at halftime, we told the kids, you guys are doing everything right. We're just not defending that option. We got to maybe widen the backers here a little bit so that they get a little freer run
On that.
to the perimeter. Yeah. Well, as it happened, the second half, they never ran that play again. They were, again, pure passing and very well. And did it very well. And I think we ended up beating them 29-15. We shut them out in the second half. And Tim Romansky had a big run on a 3-step drop pass, just a little dink. And Danny had motioned Craig Benetti across, and the backers bumped out, leaving Timmy all alone. As soon as Dan saw that, it wasn't 3-step drop anymore. It was 1 step
And hit it.
and get it. And that's what happened. So Timmy took it the distance. Now that gives us the momentum. And so now we kick off now, right after that. And I've seen this happen twice in my career, and it was done by the same kid twice. We kicked off. This kid went down, made the tackle, caused the fumble, and recovered the fumble. I saw him do it twice in his career when at Vincent. That was Tony Roby. Yeah.
I mentioned that on my page. I
Yeah.
went back and watched the second half of your game
Yeah.
recently, and he made a couple nice.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
the play you're talking about.
Yeah.
Great tackler too. You could tell his wrestling ability.
Oh, yeah. And blocker. Yeah, great blocker. Tony. Proud of him. You know, he doing great wonders at that his wrestling career.
Rebuilt the program down there. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, he has.
I think
Yeah.
he set a record, if I'm not mistaken, the number of wrestlers that he qualified for the D1 championships.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, I think, is a record I read somewhere.
Yeah. So you see the caliber of players we had. It was like driving a Cadillac, now that I think about it. You never know how good they are till they're gone.
Right.
Yeah. But they stuck together. They had good kids to learn from as they're coming up. And yeah, we were fortunate. You know, my friend Jimmy Marnella, he wrote me a note after we had won. He said, I don't know how many people realize what these Vincent kids have done. Said inner city school, winning a football state championship. And I don't know that I knew what we had done until years and years later. Yeah. Very fortunate that everything came together at the right time. We had great athletes, great coaches, great administrators, great teachers who were behind us the whole time. Yeah. We had a great parent group. And that's what it takes if you're going to have success.
The whole thing just came together.
Yeah. Exactly right. Right.
Coach, so, I mean, you hear stories. I hear stories about you from the East guys to the Vincent guys.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about you that sticks with these guys, or that you can get the best out of people? What do you think? What is it about you that does that?
I tried to talk to them about the traditions that they have to uphold. Every school had their own traditions, and I would tell them, I want you to go look at the trophy case. See what was there. See what they've earned from years and years ago. I said, now you have an opportunity here to keep this tradition going. And the game isn't for everybody either. That's something that they realize down the road. But if they can hang in there long enough, the memories that they get out of it are priceless. Yeah. So, number one, I wanted them to create their own traditions, remembering what had been done in the past, and that why they play the game. There's only two reasons you play the game. Number one, you love the game, and number two, you have something to prove. Mm-hmm. So we always had a little chip on our shoulder that we had something to prove. You know, being at East High, you know, we were down for a little bit, and we used it to our advantage. You know, why shouldn't we win? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know when it hit me when I was coaching the All-Star team, and I was looking at the players from the other schools and our players. I said, I don't see much difference. Mm-hmm. Why shouldn't we win? Yeah. So the philosophy was you play like you practice. And little things make big things happen. So we concentrate on those two things. Mm-hmm. And as soon as when they get on page with that, the little thing, once you cross that line, that white chalk line, it's a whole different attitude, okay? Now, when practice is over, the game's over, and you go on the other side of that line, I want your attitude back to normal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because too many times we carry that attitude with us.
Can't switch back.
No, and it's a transition that has to be a conscious transition. So there's time to goof around a little bit, mm-hmm. have some fun, but you never had your helmet off, and you never sat on a dummy. These are things I was brought up with. Mm-hmm. Your helmet was always on until the coach said, okay, helmet's off. And geez, Mo, when I played, they didn't give you water. No, they were conscious enough to know that sweating depleted your salt capacity. So they were trying to pump you up with these salt tablets, which made me ill. Yeah, it made me ill. You're taking the salt tablets and no water. Mm-hmm. The first coach that gave us water was Lynn Sitierski. It was hot day JV practice. He said, boys, it's too hot. Everybody in and get a drink. That was unheard of. Yeah, that was unheard of. Mm-hmm. Then when I went to college, it was water, lots of water, lots of water. Then when I started coaching, it was lots of water. Yeah. Yeah, total different philosophy.
Right.
I don't know. We all survived it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any regrets or anything, a moment you want to have back in your coaching career?
Yeah. Yeah, I regret disciplining the championship team out at camp. They were screwing around. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, you screw around one time. Okay, you talk to them. Okay. They screw around again. Okay, talk to them again. 3 times. Now, obviously, they're not tired. So we had midnight grassies, and they were tired. Mm-hmm. They were tired after that, and I wished I'd have done something different. Yeah, I could have disciplined different. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they come out of camp men. I can tell you that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if they regret that, but I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. I always think, oh, I could have done that a little different. There's always things you think you could have done a little different. And I don't know if I could have been a different coach. I really, I give the guys credit who are always even demeanor. Okay? Talk to their players. They're constantly in teaching mode.
Right, right.
Yeah. I mean, I get excited. I'm Italian. So, I had an Italian coach that used to say, Sam Rivolo, great man. He said, gentlemen, listen to what I say, not how I say it. Okay, I adopted that philosophy. I liked it. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know that I could have changed. In my next life, I would try. Yeah, but I don't know.
Right.
I played that way. A lot of guys play fired up. Then again, there's guys like Carl Nicholson. He didn't show it, but boy, could he play. Everybody's different.
Right.
Yeah. Every time I see the kids from any team that played for us, I thank them for the memories. And they reciprocate. We had good memories. Yeah. We had good memories. They were winners. They came to practice every day, Mo. Come on. You're a winner right there.
Right.
Yeah. And I tell the employer, you don't need to hire the star athlete. I said, you hire that kid that didn't play a lot and came to practice every day. There's a company kid. There's a loyal kid. There's a kid that'll do something good for your company. Yeah, that's right.
What are you most proud of?
Oh, what am I most proud of?
In your coaching,
Yeah.
when you look back at it.
Well, I guess still having a relationship with the kids today. Yeah. They realize I'm one of them. I never asked them to do anything I didn't do as a player. Matter of fact, I eliminated some things I did as a player, like bull in the ring. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I saw more injuries in that drill. And all it was a toughness drill.
Right, right.
Yeah. No need for it. You'll figure out who's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But Mo, they come up with stories that I just don't remember. Maybe they're right. I don't know. I don't deny them. I say, yeah. Yeah. But they're good memories for them, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they're family men. Hey, they pay my Social Security. Big.
Mm-hmm.
It's big, right. Hey, many of them, like yourself, have gone into education, are productive members of society. I think the taxpayer would say was well spent, the money on athletics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where I'm disheartened today is that, yeah, we got one school, but what that has done is take the opportunity for participation away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In football, geez, how many? We had 4 schools.
Where everybody had 60, 70 kids on the team, or 50, or
Yes.
Right.
And you had, I call it quality time playing. You're going to wait your turn now,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully get your turn. Yeah, where you got your turn early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. By the time you were a sophomore, you were playing.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Geez, there's nothing like playing. Nothing like putting a uniform on. I remember one of my coaches telling me, you smell the grass the way it is in the fall? He says, beautiful smell.
Mm-hmm.
And he is right.
Right.
He is absolutely right. Yeah, no, we were fortunate.
Right.
Yeah, we were fortunate.
As we wrap up, Coach, anything else you want to share with any other thoughts?
Yeah, the women in athletics, the women behind the scenes. My wife Sherry was a trooper. I can't tell you how many times she would take a phone call from me and go pick up a kid who had missed the bus to come out to camp out at Cambridge Springs, and she'd drive him out. And of course, as she's driving him out, she's giving him a lecture on being on time. Yeah. Oh yeah. And he was a very good running back. Yeah. And you know, Mo, you never know what family life is like for a kid and what obligations he has. it's not just the football. Maybe he's got to take care of his little sister. Stuff like that. Maybe mom's ill or something like that. So it's important that you find that out, and while you don't let everyone know what's going on, you give that kid a little leeway.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I cherish the time that I spent.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Appreciate the interview. It was great. I can feel the intensity. I can feel the passion here sitting with you today.
Well,
thank you so much.
I was Xing and Oing last night, and I was getting fired up myself. Yeah. Thank you, Mo. Appreciate it. Doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.